You don't beat your challenges. Here's what you actually do. Here are 6 strategies that actually work, taught by Sourena, who's actually lived through this and has more challenges than we will ever have to deal with. What if Sourena told you that the whole idea of beating your challenges is actually holding you back, right? We've been sold a story that success means we've slayed the dragon, that we've climbed the mountain, that we've defeated the obstacle, and we leave it in the dust and behind. But those are just stories. Sorena's disability dictates his career, right? It shapes how he parents his kids. It's built into every single thing he does every single day. And in this video, we're going to share some of Sorena's thoughts about why the idea of beating your challenges is more of a myth than a reality, then his 6 strategies that actually work, and how to start applying them today. And I'll tell you how to do it in the right way.
And you don't want to get rid of challenges. You want to work with challenges.
You don't want to get rid of challenges. You want to work with challenges.
And could you do how?
And I will tell you how. When you learn how to properly deal with challenges, you dramatically increase your chance to accomplish your goals. These videos are a collaboration. Sourena, who has cerebral palsy, develops the written material, and I present it on camera. Strategy 1, the truth about overcoming obstacles. Most challenges don't ever actually disappear, right? They evolve, they change, they morph, and you've got to keep rolling with that. Sourena in particular hates the word overcome. Despite Sorena's amazing accomplishments, people will often say to him, wow, it's amazing how you've overcome your disability. To which he will quickly answer, I didn't overcome anything. Last time I checked, I'm still disabled and it still sucks. But he deals with it in order to be successful, right? Think about that. Most people have challenges throughout their lives that change, morph, or new ones appear. They never actually go away. So that myth about beating your challenge, it's not a real thing. We're always going to deal with challenges, and the way you deal with it dictates your ability to accomplish your goals, right? If somebody wants to live a healthy lifestyle, they're always dealing with the challenge of getting to the gym, making good choices with food, getting enough sleep, all those things that are important. If you stop, right, you think you've done it for a while, you think you've beat that challenge, you go back to being unhealthy, right? An entrepreneur, like many of you running your businesses, there'll always be new challenges. You don't figure them out and they go away. You've got to be prepared to deal with it and keep going no matter what. If you want to have strong relationships, there's always going to be things that put relationships to the test. You've got to work on those things consistently. So it's not about overcoming those challenges. Don't use that word. It's about dealing with those challenges. And success isn't about eliminating what's hard, because the hard things will always be there. It's about developing skills to keep going no matter how hard things get, right? So stop measuring your progress by thinking challenges are gone and measuring it that way, and measure it by how well you're working on those challenges and moving forward anyway. Strategy 2, know what you're dealing with. It's really important to know what your actual challenges are. Sometimes we think things are challenges, and that's not actually what the challenge is when we look deeper. So it's really important to understand that. Also, not all challenges are the same, right? And misidentifying challenges costs you time, money, effort, and emotion. So the quicker we can identify what a real challenge is, the better we're going to be equipped at dealing with it. And Sourena will tell you there's a couple different challenges that you deal with. There are limitations, and those can be very real, right? We don't have enough money right now. There are physical limitations. There's knowledge gap. There's self-imposed limitations, like I'm just not willing to do that work, things like that. There's also gap challenges, right? And the gap is the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Some of those gaps can be closed. Other gaps redirect you, and you've got to be willing to accept that. And there's goals-based challenges, and these are the ones you sign up the moment you're trying to pursue something meaningful, right? I want to accomplish something great. Well, here's the challenges that come along that road, right? And understanding that, writing a book, starting a business, you might not know every step, and there are challenges, but you can figure it out. When Sourena wrote his first book or started his family or went to college or became a speaker, he didn't have a roadmap, right? But those were his goals. But he knew he could ask questions. He knew he could read, watch, learn, collaborate, and he figured it out as he went. You're never going to have all the answers from the beginning. That's just the nature of challenges. But understand that these challenges are not stop signs. They are arrows pointing you in a direction that actually does work, right? So take some time this week to categorize your challenges. What are real constraints? What are not real constraints? What gaps do you need to close? What challenges did you sign up for just by setting the goals that you have? If you enjoy this content, make sure that you download Sourena's ebook, 5 Keys to an Amazing Mindset, by clicking on the link in the description. And also, Please like, comment, and share. Strategy 3, accept reality, then build from there. Acceptance isn't defeat. It's the foundation of every effective strategy, right? Sourena doesn't love being disabled. It's actually kind of funny when we speak together on stage, and I've asked him before, I'm like, so what's it like living with cerebral palsy? Keep in mind, he's an inspirational, motivational speaker and educator. And he'll say, it sucks. I hate it. What did you want me to say? It's awesome, because it's not. But that's Sorena's reality, and he accepted it, and he deals with it, and now he knows how to operate because of it. You know, an entrepreneur who pretends the market isn't shifting will lose. A parent who refuses to see that their child's not behaving the way they should and just ignores it, they lose. They won't accept that reality. Once you accept the reality, then you can in fact deal with it, right? Acceptance is the first act of respect for your situation and for yourself. You cannot build a successful strategy on denial. So identify one challenge in your life that you've been resisting accepting. Maybe something you ignored or pretending it doesn't exist, or you're just turning a blind eye to. Identify that challenge. Because what becomes possible when you stop fighting all of that is absolutely amazing. Strategy 4, use excuses as a springboard. A real excuse is information, not a reason to quit, right? It's a learning opportunity. You've got to have that growth mindset, right? Sorena's disability closed some doors, right? That's not a story that he's made up. It's true, right? He can't be a short order cook. He can't be a massage therapist. Nobody's handing him a knife at the campground in an open flame, right? That's just not him. It's legitimate limitations. So some of those doors are actually closed, but it pointed him somewhere else. Those limitations became that arrow. It pointed him to things he can do, right? Which is educate, teach, coach, write, speak, inspire millions of people. He used it as an arrow, not as a stop sign, right? The people who let excuses stop them are the people who are just deep inside, don't really want to accomplish their goal, or they're looking for reasons to stop, right? They're just not willing to push through and take it forward. You know, in practice, if somebody lacks connections, use that awareness to build them up. If anxiety is blocking a goal, build a routine that addresses that, right? An excuse is real. An excuse is a reason, right? But what will you do with that reason? That's completely up to you. Name one excuse you've been carrying that's actually true and figure out where it could be pointing you that would be more helpful to accomplishing your goals. Strategy 5, build challenges into your process. Stop managing your challenges on the side and build them into your system. Accept them, that's the reality of it, and build them into your system so that you have an effective way to deal with them. You know, every process Sourena has for everything he does takes his disability into account. It doesn't hide it, it doesn't ignore it, it takes it into account. It's not an afterthought, it's baked into his systems. And that's what we all need to do with our challenges, figuring out systems that help us deal with those challenges on a regular basis. Right? You know, somebody that has to manage something like diabetes builds it into their system. This is when I do blood sugar checks, right? A working parent builds both professional and personal demands into their system. If anxiety is a part of your reality, which for many of us it is, you got to build self-care in there to deal with that anxiety on a regular basis, right? So build around what's real, not what you wish was real, right? So pick one reoccurring challenge and see how you can design your schedule or a process to help you deal with that, how it becomes a part of your system rather than ignoring it. Strategy 6, your team and your mindset. As you know, mindset is crucial. It's one of the things that Sourena teaches audiences about. It's one of those things that's just the first and most important thing when it comes to accomplishing goals. But part of your mindset is you don't have to do this alone, right? Positivity is a strategy, not a platitude. We see so many people who wear it as a badge of honor. I do things alone. This was mine. And that's never, ever true. The most successful people lean on other people. There are people in Sourena's life that helped him get where he's going, and he's helped them. He creates win-win relationships, and that's what we all need to do. You've got to have the mindset of getting the right people around you. You know, be clear about what you need. Don't take people for granted. That is so crucial. And again, I'll say it one more time. Sourena can't emphasize enough the importance of win-win relationships. If you're the type of person who just tries to get from people, eventually that wears off. But if you get and you give, that's when not only do you accomplish goals much faster, but you build relationships and you feel more fulfilled in general, right? Gratitude isn't a feel-good concept. It's a strategic one. It helps with optimism, positivity, productivity, all of those things, right? But you can't spot opportunities or think creatively when you're consumed by what's wrong, right? Sourena knows his situation could be significantly worse. The awareness doesn't erase that frustration, but it keeps him from losing sight of doing what he has to do. Again, gratitude is not a feel-good concept. It is real. It's a strategic approach to accomplishing goals. So who in your life is already positioned to help you through a current challenge? Have you been clear with them about what you actually need? Think about that and write that down. So a few of Sorena's key takeaways. 1, challenges don't disappear. You don't overcome anything. I literally hope every time now you hear the word overcome, you think about Sourena and how powerful that statement is. But your job's not to eliminate challenges. It's to get better at working through them and with them, right? Acceptance is where strategy starts, right? You can't build on denial. And again, your challenges do not have to stop you. They don't have to be a stop sign. They can actually be an arrow that points you in the direction of your goals and make you stronger. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, and I'm sure that you did, make sure you like it, share it, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel.